Yeah, so a lot of the signs that you would that a child might be a Gestalt language processor is you can see kind of what lean into what they're interested in and see what they pay attention to if they're not yet talking, and then if they are talking, then you can see what that looks like when they're talking. So if a child's not yet talking, but you see that they're heavily interested in listening to the same like audio clips, so maybe like a YouTube video and listening to the same parts over and over and over again, that could be an indicator. If a child is really into music, that could be another really strong indicator that a child is a Gestalt language processor. A lot of the times in our field, Gestalt language processors are referred to as intonation babies. And so intonation being that melody and prosody that you hear in language. And so a lot of the times, even if children aren't producing real words that you understand, if they're doing a lot of babbling that is really rich in that intonation, that could be another sign that they're a Gestalt language processor. Also, the research is kind of limited in the area, as is a lot of the different areas when you're thinking about working with, young children with developmental differences or disabilities. But, there are lots of estimates that most autistic children are Gestalt language processors. And so that could be, if a child has that diagnosis, that could be another clue as well. So those are kind of what you can look for in children who are not yet speaking quite yet. And then for children who are talking, some of the signs that you can look for, one of them is echolalia. And so that's something that a lot of people do know a little bit more about, especially if you're in that autism community. And that is kind of repeating back what you heard, whether that's immediately after hearing it or a delayed echolalia. So if every time your mom leaves, she says, gotta go, bye. And then every time you see someone leave a room, you say, gotta go, bye, gotta go, bye. That could be a sign that they're learning language that way. And then also, when we're thinking about typically developing children, a lot of what we think about is, you learn one word, then you increase to two, then you increase to three. So you might learn go, then go dog, then let's go dog. And that's how language is built. But for Gestalt language processors, you honestly see the inverse. So you'll see a lot of phrases being used very early on. So a child might not be saying go, or they might not be saying dog, or, whatever that single word may be. They might, when they start talking, immediately start using full phrases, oftentimes full phrases that they have heard that are linked to really strong emotions. So I know a lot of parents might complain that their child isn't really using a lot of real words to communicate, but they'll pick up on the curse words because those are so strongly linked to those high emotional experiences. And then also they'll take a lot of the words that they're using from media. And so hearing something they might hear in a show, like I had a child who was a Gestalt language processor and loved Paw Patrol. And so he would come in, and whenever he was swinging, he'd say, this pup's got to fly, which is a line from Paw Patrol. And so when you see that children are using longer strings of language, especially those strings of language that are linked to emotion or from media, that can be a sign as well.